Alrighty, this is Resurrected Hobbyist with part 5 of Pairs. Last part, James had just given Noya his phone number. I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to work, because I don't think their communicators will interface with a GSM network, or whatever they're using for cell phones in this day and age. So, we'll find out. Yeah, Kitten had just asked Mel how a phone number works. Oh, wow, did I ever time that perfectly? Speaking of timing, let me start the timer so I don't run too long. Okay, the shop is already closed when I arrive. Oh, early again. His lip twists upward in a slight smile. I do have to say, I think he looks better without the apron. I'm not saying that as, like, guys shouldn't wear aprons. No, to hell with that. I'm just saying, like, the sprite, like, with a more uniform distribution of color, like the white center from the shirt and the cream-colored skin, it just makes him look sharper. I don't know. Fantasizing, whatever. His lips twist upward in a slight smile. And look at that! No news report this time. That's always a plus. You don't want your girlfriend showing up every time there's a major news report for a possible homicide or, you know, invasion of something. That's going to lead to some awkward moments. I cross my arms. I made a promise, didn't I? Oh, and different outfit. I don't know why. I'm expecting her to be wearing, like, cat ears for some reason. Anyway, I made a promise. I haven't even set so much as a single fire. So, you haven't. He trails off thoughtfully, rubbing his neck. I peer at him carefully. Do you want to sit down? We have a few more minutes until the sun sets. I can't read him. He seems strangely disingenuous, and I don't like it. Usually he is more straightforward, but ever since he gave me the phone number, James has been acting bizarre. Not just that, but he asked me to wear something special, and he himself dressed strangely. And he smells different. So, overalls and a t-shirt are special for Nayans. What does that say? Special as in not flamboyant and casual? Special as in I'm not trying to make a statement, maybe? Not bad, just different. I pull out a chair and he pulls out his own, sitting across from me. I noticed that you figured out texting. Nice. It's hard to fight back the little grin, but I put my hand on my hip, triumphantly thrusting out my chin. The little pictures you can send with the words are truly excellent. Very retro. James blinks in surprise. Retro, huh? He looks me over tentatively as I take my seat. No gift this time? Oh, which way do I want to play her? You think you're deserving of one? You're easily annoyed, after all. I feel like she's going to try and approach this from a position of dominance, and she's going to try to continue to establish her dominance. So, you think you're deserving of one? I eye him critically. Humans, you really are an indecisive bunch. James tries to keep it off his face, but he ends up shooting me an annoyed look. You know, humans aren't all the same. You can't just lump us all together in some irritation soup. Irritation soup. I may have to adopt that as a new curse phrase. You know, damn this irritation soup. I actually kind of like the sound of that. Humans are all this, and humans are all that. It's not like all Nayans are the same, are they? Of course not. Then stop moaning about humans every time I do something you don't like. I cross my arms, glowering at him. You dare school me in diplomacy when you don't even have the decency or knowledge on how to accept a customary gift? Nayan traditions say that I am to gift you something of mine and something of yours. Nayan tradition says that I am to gift you something of mine and something of yours. So, like, if I'm meeting someone, I'm supposed to give them something of mine, steal something of theirs, and give them that as well? I guess Nayans aren't big on personal property. Actually, I guess that kind of does feed into the whole idea of, their boyfriend/girlfriend being their claimed. I own this person. That's kind of getting creepy, actually. Instead, you insist that I am a burden to you. You know nothing of being polite, nothing of loyalty. I can feel my face getting hot. Mel starts to vibrate on my wrist. Princess, your anger levels will alert the humans of your presence. It is recommended that you elate yourself immediately. This is your first warning. I fall silent. If I let these human frustrations get the better of me, nothing good could come of it. At best, James would end up disliking me. And at worst, he would prove completely disloyal. I didn't want to fight, so I'll forgive you. I take a deeper breath. I didn't realize that you were so sensitive, so I won't mention a thing about whatever grievances humans have. He looks at me with a long stare, then looks resigned. Maybe that's the best I can ask for. Not exactly boyfriend of the year here, is he? I don't know what he means, but I try my best to not show my annoyance again. Frankly speaking, the back talk is a little surprising. James is changing. He is getting too familiar. When I first claimed him, he did not dare to speak to me this way, but now he seems less and less reserved day by day. I'm certain that it's not a good thing. I fall silent, pondering. I wonder how I can keep him in check. Slightly deflated, I lean forward in the chair, shifting myself closer as I cut my face in his hands. What did you bring me here for? I told you, it was a surprise. He trails off at the sight of my impatient expression. Okay, fine. Since you don't know the meaning of patience, which I admittedly already knew, I was trying to arrange some time together. Just the two of us. I'm raising May by myself, so I'm not really bursting with extra money, but I thought you'd like it if we could just spend some time together stargazing. Since you got here early, the sun is still setting. We can't exactly stargaze when the sun is in the sky. Blow up the sun! I blink in the face of his confession. He invited me here to spend time together? I'm curious if she's surprised by that on an individual basis or on a cultural basis. Like, what is Nayan mating? Or dating, I guess. Like. With me? I balk, then open my mouth to speak when his communicator, resting on the table, lights up. He glances at the screen, then quickly silences it. Excuse me. Slipping it into his pocket and muttering under his breath. Not now, May. He looks at me apologetically. I told her I was on a date. I told her I was busy, but, you know. Date? I tuck away the curious new word. I could ask Mel later. I had a sudden realization. May? My ears perk up. That's right, the Niling he calls sister. If anything, she must be the way to tap into his loyalty. Ooh, I don't like where that's going. I stare at him, my expression neutral. If I can find a way to use the sister, I will have succeeded at last, my very own loyal servant. One who knows what true love is. I smile, leaning forward as I place my hand on top of his. Will I ever get to meet her? James looks somewhat nervous. Maybe one day? I press him. Tomorrow? Next week? 3 weeks from now? I don't think that's such a good idea. I sit up, annoyed. Why? What are you hiding? I just know that you and my sister are very different people. I drum my fingers on the table impatiently. I think you just don't trust me. It's not exactly that. He reaches into a small bag hung on the side of his chair and pulls something out. A slim sheet of metal that lights up when touched. It reminds me of a clunky manual version of Mel. James hesitates for a second, touches the metal sheet with light taps for a few moments, then hands it to me. I look at the screen, but it looks like completely gibberish to me. Oh, wait. I run my wrist over the screen so Mel can translate the words, murmuring them in an undertone as I read. Team E fan blog, established 620, following Team E wholeheartedly until we debut. I scan down the site. It's full of various pictures of groups of heroes I've never seen before, engaging in border skirmishes on the atmospheric edges of Nean bases. I look at him, surprised. He avoids my eyes. This is the kind of stuff my sister's into. She's, what does she call it? He thinks for a long moment, then gives up. I admit, I don't remember the name of it, but she runs some kind of fan site for pre-debut heroes, like a hero groupie. And why does this concern us? It's not exactly a cause for concern, just embarrassing, and maybe a little weird. I mean, I'm not exactly rooting for Nean Rule either, but I don't know. I have a feeling that if she found out, May would freak. She'd probably report you to the WPP or something. I don't really know how I'd break it to her that I'm dating the heir to Earth's greatest threat. I guess I'm just hoping that it somehow doesn't bother you. James lets out an uneasy laugh. Stupid, right? I mean, of course you wouldn't care about something like this. His eyes search my face for something. My reaction? My approval? It's disconcerting. James never sought my opinion for, well, anything. I think carefully about replying, reluctant to say the wrong thing. I get it. She might not be too happy that I'm the face of the soldiers fighting her precious heroes. I mutter under my breath. But, thanks to a certain someone, it's not like I've been doing much of anything at all lately. Look. I gesture to my hip. No weapons. Congrats. And not doing much? I'm that boring, huh? Boring? He keeps me on my toes, if anything. I've done diplomatic runs before, encountered many species, but I've never met anything quite like this human. I lean on my elbows, looking at him carefully. He doesn't say anything as my eyes roam his features. Humans, with their strange features and skins, and backward splintered societies, at least neutrals were normal here. I could only wish that Nean society were this progressive in that very direction. As my eyes linger on this lightly speckled skin, the strange plastic frames over his eyes, the straight hairs framing his face, he doesn't speak. Not quite understanding why I'm looking so intently, but unsure if he should say anything. When my eyes meet his for a second, he leans forward so suddenly that I jerk back in surprise. What? What is it? He looks bemused. I just thought I'd break the monotony. You can't spend all your time checking me out. Is it strange to look? I thought we already established that I've already forgotten the term he used. Not friend, the other one. Claimed? I look at him in surprise. Girlfriend is the human term I was looking for, but... What? You sound like a Nean is all. He rubs his neck. I guess you're rubbing off on me. Glancing out the window, he seems surprised. Oh, is it that time already? I glance at the shop storefront. He's right, it's pitch black outside. Should we get going then? The stars aren't going to watch themselves, you know. So, I feel like As a Nayan, her initial thought here would be to ignore the hand. But seeing as she's trying to, understand more Earth culture, I think she would take the hand that's offered because it's offered. So I grip his hand tightly, using it to pull myself out of the chair. Excuse me. His arm flexes slightly, and for a moment I'm impressed with his human strength. But he is just human. How could Daddy say that we were withdrawing from a fight when the Nayans are so much... I let go of his hand, my stomach twisting slightly. Somehow it doesn't feel right. As he reaches for the handle to lock it, he speaks, not facing me. I've always wondered something. Speak. He glances at me over his shoulder. Why don't you have bodyguards? Isn't it weird that you just walk around without any kind of security detail? Of course not. All Nayans are equipped to protect themselves, royalty even more so. Maybe your everyday power-slinging Nayans can, but what about you? As a neutral, how is your dad fine with you traipsing the universe without any backup? What if something happened to you? I blink at him. Really, James? If something happened to me, Daddy would intervene. Intervene? Daddy can... Oh, wait, I remember. He's got that reality warping ability, right? You mentioned it once. His voice is thoughtful. It's crazy. Couldn't he just reality warp us into submission? Make us lose key battles or something? I look at him blankly. It's dishonorable to use in warfare. Such a thing takes no strength and thus is completely useless. Everyone knows that. Yeah, it's kind of exactly the response I was expecting. And frankly, if James has been... Dating seems like the wrong word here, but if James has been involved with Kitten for a period of time, I'm a little surprised he hasn't picked up on that. Though, to be fair, I'm kind of getting a Twisty Twiggly vibe off of James. So, I don't know. I tilt my head curiously. Why are you asking about all of this? He hums and haws, not really responding. I straighten. Wait, are you concerned for my safety? He's quiet. Am I correct? Something like that. He turns around and gives me a warm smile. Don't worry about it. Really, I just want to, make sure the next time I get you alone, there isn't going to be some band of bodyguards ready to rip me limb from limb. I'm sure if she wanted to, she could arrange it. I look at him puzzled. Even if I could do a simple dismemberment, even I could do a simple dismemberment if I wanted to. Why? Figure of speech. He lets out an awkward laugh. Sometimes I forget. Never mind, let's just go. I sit on the bench, waiting in the darkness for the yellow star to rise. James has already left hours ago, the glow of our night leaving me with deep satisfaction and deeper regrets. I can't sleep. The Earth days are much too short for me to feel comfortable enough to rest again, and I don't want to go back to the ship. It's all been hustle and bustle as the units prepare for departure. I bridge my fingers thinking. The first ship of arbitrators has already arrived. Daddy's been busy every day, meeting with them to draft the first of many peace treaties that the humans will accept. It's so close. Mel, awaiting commands, Princess. How many days until we're due for departure in local time? 16 cycles of the Earth-Sun, Princess. 16? What happened to the other 14? 16 more days. 16 more days until I'm back on Venori. Affirmative. A flare of anger hissing up my spine. I pull Mel off my wrist and wind my arm back, preparing to throw it with all my might. But somehow I can't. The one I'm really angry at is myself. I lower my arm reluctantly. I have to tell him, don't I? The muffled sound of Mel's voice vibrates against the palm of my hand. Affirmative, Princess. That is the recommended course of action. I squeeze my eyes shut as a wave of heat shudders across my skin. Excuse me. I can't think about it. I'll overheat. Fiddling with the comm bracelet on my wrist, I let out a sigh. Take me home, Mel. My ears perk up on the normal ringing, the sound that tells me that, in moments, I will be back in the barracks. Princess? The noise stops abruptly. Receiving incoming transmission. Accept? Who is it? It is the Emperor. I sit up. Patch him through. Noya, where are you? I'm on Earth, in Quadrant. You're in Q, aren't you? Well, there were just a few more things I wanted to see before I go. There's this beautiful sunrise and excuses. It is a beautiful planet, so appreciating Earth's surface is understandable. But every night? And those clothes, what are you wearing? Where is the headdress I had synthesized for you? I fall silent, dread coming over me. We won't have much time here left. So I just thought I'd trail off under my father's stern glare. So when the Emperor calls through Mel, does it project a hologram? Is that what she's reacting to? I mean, it's kind of a moot point, I guess, but I thought it was just projecting the sound, like a wrist, like a wrist-based speaker or something like that. But now this seems to infer that there's something visual that she's responding to. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here for part 5. We're running about 22 minutes, so a little bit longer than normal. So catch me for part 6.